In this video, we will talk about 6 key concepts, which are definition, identifying and classifying, the applications of EMA in Coca-Cola and Adidas, benefit and challenge, and lastly, conclusions. Before that, what is Environmental Management Accounting, EMA? EMA consists of management accounting system and practices that provides the information about the environmental impact of an organization activities. It includes life cycle costing, environmental cost accounting, environmental performance measure, assessment of environmental benefit, and strategic planning for environmental management. EMA will encompass financial information on environmental costing and savings, as well as physical information. Environmental costs are the costs that an organization incurs to prevent, monitor, and report environmental impact. Environmental costs can influence the estimates of product and process costs, which inform the manager short-term and long-term decision. There are 5 tiers that we can use to identify and classify environmental costs. 5 tiers are conventional costs, hidden costs, contingent costs, relationship and image costs, and lastly, societal costs. Hidden costs include the cost of monitoring and reporting activities to comply with regulations. These costs also have the same application as conventional costs, but it also can be found in the accounting system and it may not easy to find and report it. They often hidden in various overhead accounts and in the cost of wages and salaries. Contingent liabilities arising from failure to clean up contaminated sites and penalties for non-compliance with regulations. Relationship and image costs reflects perceptions of various stakeholders which are rarely measured in standard information system and are difficult to measure objectively. Lastly, societal cost is the cost that organization impose on others. It may not be held legally responsible and which cannot be compensated for in the legal systems.
Next, we will move on into the company that we choose that have issues regarding the environmental. We agreed to choose 2 big companies in a different market, which are Coca-Cola and Adidas. For Coca-Cola, firstly, I will briefly explain about the company background. Coca-Cola's history began in 1886 when the curiosity of an Atlanta pharmacist, Dr. John, led him to create a distinctive tasting soft drinks that could be sold at soda fountains. He created a flavor syrup and took it to his neighborhood pharmacy where it was mixed with carbonated water and deemed excellent by those who sampled it. Dr. John's partner and bookkeeper, Frank and Robinson, is credited with naming the beverage Coca-Cola as well as designing the trademark tasting script that are still used today. There are 2 main issues of Coca-Cola that we will discuss today. Firstly, about the plastic pollution, then climate change. For plastic pollution, Coca-Cola was the world's worst plastic polluter for the 4th year in a row in a year 2021 according to the Global Coalition Break Free from Plastics annual report released in October. Everyone would recognize Coca-Cola as the most successful drinking brand around the world. But the reality is Coca-Cola has a major plastic problem and it is threatening our personal and planetary health. For decades, Coca-Cola and other consumer goods companies have relied on the myth of recycling to avoid responsibility for this pollution. They have played up recycled content as a way to continue using harmful single-use plastics and put the onus on all of us to clean up their trash while refusing to recognize that their plastic problem is beyond being solved by recycling or clean-up initiative. There was a case where Coca-Cola was sued by Earth Island Institute for deceptive marketing regardless its sustainability efforts despite being one of the largest contributors to plastic pollution in the world. In the complaint, Earth Island Institute, a not-for-profit environmental organization, alleged that Coca-Cola is deceiving the public by marketing itself as sustainable and environmentally friendly while polluting more than any other beverage company and actively working to prevent effective recycling measures in the US. Due to Coca-Cola plastic addiction, it is also feeding climate change. As the fossil fuel industry's profitability continues to be undermined by worldwide action against greenhouse gas emission, it has begun to see its salvation in a plastic boom and a long-term partner in consumer goods companies like Coca-Cola. According to scientists, packaging already accounts for 40% of total plastic demand, and the industry would like nothing more than to increase that dependence. If the fossil fuel industries continues to develop new extractions and processing capacity to meet the predicted plastic demand growth, society could become locked into high emissions. Next, I will explain on how the use of environmental management accounting can manage the Coca-Cola issue. The first one is environmental prevention costs. Environmental prevention costs is cost of activities undertaken to prevent the production of waste. Coca-Cola's manufacturing factories can install air filters that will be used to separate specific vapors, fluid, or solids from the air stream carried over from the manufacturing process. Although the installation of air filters is expensive, but having an effective air filtration system can help reduce the emissions of carbon dioxide gas to the atmosphere. Other than that, Coca-Cola must put its money where its mouth is and invest in system of reuse that eliminate the burden of toxic plastic pollution from these communities, so they have access to cleaner air and water. Next, environmental internal failure cost. It is a cost incurred from performing activities that have produced contaminants and waste that have not been discharged into the environment. This cost incurs to treat toxic waste to ensure the safety of neighborhood and community around the factory, and the cost to treat equipment that have been contaminated to ensure that the workers are able to work in a safe and clean environment. Coca-Cola should invest their money to make sure that there is nobody that will be hurt in the production of their products. Lastly, environmental external costs, which is the cost incurred on activities performed after discharging waste into the environment, such as in the water, land, or air. If the Coca-Cola company does not follow the regulation by not making discharging waste into the environment, they will face a lawsuit and need to pay the high amount of money regarding their behavior.
The next company that we choose is Adidas. So let's get to know first the company background for Adidas. Adidas is a German multinational corporation founded and headquartered in Herzogenaurach, Bavaria, that designs and manufactures the athletic shoes, apparel, and sporting goods. It was founded in 1949 by Adolf Adidas Dassler. The name Adidas is an abbreviation of the name of founder Adolf Adidas Dassler. Adidas products are traditionally marked with a three-stripe trademark, which remain an element in the company newer trefoil and mountain logos. Adidas has evolved over the years from humble beginning in 1949 in Bavaria, Germany. Sportwear giant Adidas has grown to be the second largest activewear brand in the world after Nike and the largest sportwear manufacturer in Europe. Adidas is known and loved for its iconic Stan Smith sneakers, logo sweaters, tees, and sportwears worn by athletes all over the world. The first issue for Adidas is the usage of chemical substances in the process of making the product. Adidas uses harmful chemical substances to preserve the leather. These hazardous chemical substances can be found in the process of tanning the leather. Tanning is the process by which raw animal skins and hides are converted into the leather. This process helps to make the leather more resilient and strong for use in a variety of different products and prevents it from decomposing. Once tanned, the leather becomes useful for a variety of products, including jackets, gloves, bags, and shoes. In the tanning process, more than 200 chemicals are being used. After the process, it creates a mixture of complex toxic substances such as chromium, sulfide, and nitrate, and it gets discharged as a waste. Chromium contamination can pose a serious risk to the environment and human health. Wastewater and solid waste from the tanning operation often find their way into surface water where toxins are carried downstream and contaminate water that used for bathing, cooking, swimming, and irrigation. Chromium waste can also seep into the soil and contaminate groundwater systems that provide drinking water for nearby communities. As an example, a town in the northern India on the banks of the Ganges River has approximately 400 small tannery operations that are contaminating the area with large amounts of chromium. A lot of poisonous plants will grow on this polluted land. Then herbivore and omnivore animals who eat this greenery will be poisoned. The numerous species of animals will die due to this poisonous plant. The death of these animals will disturb the food chain and cause the other animals in the chain to vanish, hence causing an imbalance in the ecosystem or can cause the whole system around that polluted area to collapse. The effluents that contain harmful chemical substances will release gases and chemicals into the air, causing the air to be contaminated as well. Through this tanning process only, Adidas has polluted the water and air and ruined the ecosystem in that process area. The second and the last issue for Adidas is greenhouse gas emission. An estimated 340 million pairs of Adidas shoes were made in 2021. Do you ever wonder how much carbon dioxide does a pair of shoes produce? No, of course. Based on the research I've done on Google, it said on average, the production of a pair of shoes generates 30 pounds or 13.6 kilograms of carbon dioxide emission. And there are more than 15 billion shoes produced each year around the world. 314 million times 13.6 kilograms equals 4.624 billion kilogram carbon dioxide released by Adidas in the year of 2021. The release of these greenhouse gases from the manufacturing of Adidas product lines causes climate change by trapping heat from the sun. They also contribute to respiratory disease from smoke and air pollution. Extreme weather, food supply disruption, and increased wildfires are other effects of climate change caused by greenhouse gases. Next is how to manage the issues that I've stated before. As for the first issue, Adidas needs to apply chemical nutrient removal processes. Adidas needs to use something that will help to remove or keep the chemical substances like chromium and nitrate from leaking out to somewhere it's not supposed to. For instance, Adidas can spend a number of costs on applying chemical removal methods, especially on the tanning process. Chemical removal is a method of wastewater treatment in which chemicals are added to form particles which settle and remove contaminants. The general purposes of the chemical treatment are removal of suspended solids from the water, pH adjustment, removal of dissolved material in the water, and improving water quality. The most common method in the chemical treatment are chlorination, chloramination, ozonation, and ultraviolet light. As for the second issue on how to manage it is by making low carbon footprint sneaker. This sportwear company should innovate a shoes that will release a lower percentage of carbon dioxide. Adidas has announced a partnership with Allbirds, a partnership that will focus on environmental friendly and a sustainable future for performance footwear. They unveiled the first product from the collaboration, the Futurecraft Footprint, a running shoe with a carbon footprint of 2.94 kg of carbon dioxide emission per pair. The shoe has the lowest carbon footprint of any performance sneaker ever. Adidas has committed in achieving climate neutrality across its own operation by 2025, reducing greenhouse gas emission across its entire value chain by 30% by 2030.
You guys might wondering why businesses should manage its environment. There are a few benefits that businesses will gain from managing its environment. The first one is that they can increase overall profitability. When business operation cause significant environmental damage, the cost of recovery may be great enough to cause a business to fail and may bring about lawsuit limited year to close. Hence, by managing the business environment, it will make the risk of getting lawsuit and penalty to a lower level. This will relatively make the environmental cost reduce and profit of the business improve. The second benefit from this is it can improve sustainability. Reducing the environmental impact of a business will improve its sustainability. If the business is less dependent on natural resources as compared to their competitors and also have ways to deal with the rising costs due to climate change, that business will have a greater chance to long-term success. The third one is it can increase business reputation. By managing the environment, the image of the business will increase. People may be more likely to support a business that cares about sales impact on the environment. Besides, it will show the business different from other businesses as they promote an environmental friendly method. New customer will be attracted and wanted to give support to this kind of business. The last benefit that I will explain today is the improved work health and safety. By reducing the usage of industrial chemical and less waste, workplace health and safety will improve. For example, businesses that produce eco-friendly cleaning products which are plant-based and biodegradable, where does not contain harmful artificial chemicals, will most likely to endanger employees' health, resulting in happier and healthier their employees. Now, I will explain about the challenges of managing environment. So firstly, it is time-consuming for companies that are only starting to implement this in their business. The managers need some time to brainstorm and think whether it will work or not for the company, and this requires a lot of time to implement and also enforce it into the business. Next, a company may also fail to account for important financial concern in the long-term run because the company that interested to implement this type of analysis should know that it is not only been focusing on entirely on the financial costs. There are also other qualitative factors that are being focused on, and in the long run, companies may fail to account for its important financial concern such as inflation, interest rate, and present value money. Lastly, it may be difficult for small businesses to implement this because it requires a continuous and systematic approach to be implemented. Small businesses may not have the required resources to actually conduct this into their business. To summarize our presentation, improving environmental management doesn't have to be expensive. It is often related to behavior and use of existing equipment more efficiently. Nowadays, human health plays an important role in influencing environmental policy. Good qualities natural environment provide basic needs in terms of clean air and water, fertile land for food production, and so on. In making decisions for the business, company also need to consider our environment and how it will be affected by the decision made. I think that's all from us. Thank you for watching.